anything that goes on behind closed doors in a place called Hollywood, that you're too afraid to say something because they might take something from me. But what you can't take is my integrity.
Monique was discussing her experiences with bullying in Hollywood at the time. As it happens, she may have been hinting that some of our greatest celebrities are more than simply bullies.
Star Vin Diesel is being sued for alleged battery by a former assistant. Asa Jonathan filing the lawsuit in LA County Superior Court today. It alleges that Diesel forced himself on her in his hotel suite.
Music mogul and rapper Sean Diddy Combs has faced 4 different lawsuits in recent weeks alleging and all of which he has denied.
On Monique's end, however, these tales seem to have an additional twist.
I to have a private conversation with everyone you name. And with everyone you name, they try to bully me privately.
Although many individuals in the world may consider themselves activists, Monique is one of the few who have never really identified as such, but whose life has been a living example of the term. She has advocated not just for herself but also for her family and even for others with less clout in the comedy business. With not even the slightest quiver at the opponents she faces, she is now bringing her battle to the front pages of Hollywood. I say this because the individuals she has now targeted are really among the most influential and accomplished individuals in the field, having accumulated years of expertise. However, if you are familiar with this woman's past, you are aware that she is not easily frightened. As we saw with the latest charges and the list of celebrities linked to the Jeffrey Epstein case, you may not be aware, but the headlines of the last few days are full of some fairly alarming news about some of the greatest stars. Even though Diddy and Vin Diesel's names may not have been on the list, they are used to such stories. Recently, at least. To be honest, most people don't find it shocking that the music executive finds themselves in this predicament. The man essentially lives and breathes controversy, not because he is a nasty person. He has also taken particular efforts to place himself in such situations on several instances in the past. He has, however, been able to avoid the many scandals that have surrounded him over the years, some of which have been as severe as charges of unaliving. Since few individuals get away with such charges, this indicates that he most likely has some social influence. This is usually the first indication to back off and refocus your attention. Given that the comedian seems to be pursuing him, Monique views him as nothing more than big game. In addition to exposing influential individuals like him who never fail to find a way to achieve their goals, she has also been concentrating on some of the less well-known aspects of their perverse lives that don't usually make the news. This section seems to be mainly centered on Vin Diesel, even if it could equally apply to Diddy's very lavish lifestyle. You know, unless you've been paying close attention to the news that comes out about the Fast and Furious franchise's face, you'd probably assume that his extremes don't extend beyond his ability to drive muscle cars on enormous screens. But according to Monique and a number of recent news, Diesel may be much more complicated than we realize. Anyone attempting to expose these individuals, especially those inside their own business, would be understandably put off by the allegations, denial, and pretend. None of these things, however, seem to be impeding Monique. The comedian, who already has a history of confronting and exposing those who have wronged her in the course of her career, has now directed the same wrath against other colleagues in her field who have a history of exploiting others who may not have been able to defend themselves. For many of her supporters, this is not startling. The fact that she is fighting this battle while remaining involved with other important figures in Hollywood, however, seemed to stun them. She will never be silenced, however, as she said.
Why was silence never a choice for you?
I think that silence brings along disease. And I've seen a lot of silent women full of disease, and I don't choose to do that.
For the very individuals who are meant to be in charge, illicit events including drug abuse and questionable unlawful activity are the norm in this sector. The only option available to those on the sidelines is often to remain silent and dance to the music of the powerful, not Monique. But for some members of the Fast and Furious cast, this was the only way to survive. The popular series has made headlines throughout the years, most of which have been about it breaking some of the biggest records in movie history. But there were also a number of sinister scenes featuring Vin Diesel and other prominent cast members. Because of the Fast and Furious movie series, Diesel's name is usually connected to thrilling action and an engrossing on-screen demeanor. However, the guy has recently become embroiled in disputes that are quite different from his on-screen persona. Known for portraying strong, moral roles, the actor is now dealing with claims that have raised questions about his conduct off-screen. In a shocking admission, Diesel was accused of by his former personal assistant when Fast 5 was being filmed. Diesel strongly disputes this accusation, which has sparked a flurry of problems with abuse and misuse of power in Hollywood. According to the complaint, the assistant had a horrific experience and was wrongfully fired after a frightening encounter in a hotel room where her non-consent was reportedly disregarded. This is not a unique incident in Diesel's career. His Hollywood career has been marked by some controversial events that have occasionally overshadowed his professional achievements. For instance, Diesel's interactions with women have sometimes raised issues. This was made clear by Diesel's comments and actions during a 2016 interview with a Brazilian YouTuber, which drew criticism since it was seen as inappropriate and unprofessional and shown a lack of respect for the boundaries of a formal setting.
Right or wrong? Oh my God, can someone save me? When did this turn into Beautiful World? When did this turn into the most gorgeous girl?
Furthermore, Diesel's relationships with his co-stars have been the subject of a lot of debate and conjecture. During the making of The Fate of the Furious, he and Dwayne, who was formerly The Rock Johnson, had a well-publicized rivalry that exposed issues that were purportedly spurred on by Diesel's behavior on set. On and off the set, this competition demonstrated the challenging dynamics that emerged between famous performers in a competitive industry. Apart from that, Diesel's reputation of being difficult to work with has been a persistent problem. His conduct has sometimes been challenging and disturbing for his co-workers, according to reports from different production sets. Claims of ineptitude, including delaying deadlines and being too demanding on set, have painted the actor as someone whose behavior off-screen differs greatly from his on-screen persona. These disputes extend beyond personal disputes and allegations of misconduct. They tackle a broader issue in the entertainment industry, which is the culture of collaboration and quiet that often envelops powerful individuals. In a culture where fame and power can often shield individuals from criticism, Diesel's narrative highlights important questions of accountability and the consequences of actions. It's interesting to note that Diesel's career has not suffered much in spite of these scandals. He still has a sizable fan base and is well regarded by critics for his performances. This contradiction between the public's opinion of him and the personal accusations made against him brings to light the intricacy of celebrity culture, where success and brilliance often eclipse shortcomings and scandals. Furthermore, Diesel wasn't the only one on that set affected by this. Tyrese Gibson, a member of the franchise's major ensemble, reportedly saw disturbing practices while production under the shadow of Hollywood's glaring lights. Tyrese was aware of the issue involving Rob Cohen, the director of The Fast and the Furious, who was accused of say, but he felt obliged to keep quiet about it in order to save his career. The power dynamics at work in the sector are well shown by this silence. He remarked, "I love you both, you're both talented, but which one of you is going to suck me?" as we sat down. Gibson was also accused by comic Spanky Hayes of requiring favors in order to secure roles in Hollywood. Even while Gibson denied these accusations and replied angrily, they contribute to a disturbing story of exploitation and coercion in the film industry, similar to what Monique had encountered with other producers. Diddy, the rapper, seems to take great pleasure in this cosmos. You've undoubtedly seen Sean Diddy Combs in the news for something that you wouldn't exactly call perfect if you know who he is. As an executive and an artist, the guy is undoubtedly one of the most successful individuals to have ever worked in the music business, but his personal reputation is much more infamous than his professional one. See, Diddy may be worse than Diesel after all. The guy has been embroiled in scandal for almost every month in the last year alone. This circumstance prompted 50 Cent, who has often supported Monique, to decide to produce a documentary series that would reveal the man's shady past in the business. Page 6 claims that 50's G-Unit Films and Television Company may be developing a television special on the founder of Bad Boy Records, despite the fact that the G-Unit leader has not made the announcement public. 50 tweeted the Page 6 link on Friday, referring to himself as the greatest producer for the job and hinting to the broadcast project in the works. Do you recall how I said Diddy almost made the news every month of the previous year due to accusations? I wasn't being dramatic. When his ex-girlfriend Cassie filed a shocking lawsuit against him in November, accusing the music mogul of R-roading and STing her for 10 years, the rapper made headlines. She stated in her New York case against Combs that she was caught in a 10-year cycle of violence and street, which includes a 2018 R after her attempt to leave him and many incidents of domestic abuse. A day later, the matter was settled to their mutual satisfaction. Since then, however, additional women have come forward, some of whom have made detailed accusations of abuse.